Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you all are having a good weekend. What we're doing today, just another collection update. Most of this stuff I've gotten in the last month and a half, except I think 2 of the CDs I'm gonna show I got in within 2 or 3 weeks, but that seems like a good enough time to show it. But whenever I do an update, I usually like to show stuff after I've had it for at least a month. That way I can digest it. So whenever I do an update, none of the stuff I've showed I've had for like a day or two. That seems kind of pointless because you won't listen to it like once or twice. You can't really describe what it sounds like, so I don't see the point of saying, "Oh, I bought this 5 minutes ago. Here's the record. Okay, goodbye." I don't get the point of that, but that's just me personally. What we got spinning in the background today, though? Oliver, Shadows of the Sun. I used to be one of those people that only likes the metal stuff, the metal material from Oliver, but recently something clicked, and I mean recently in the last like 4 or 5 months, and this might be my favorite Oliver record now. I never thought I would say this. It's not heavy or anything, you can hear it. Just a second. It's not aggressive, but it's super dark sounding, so if you could appreciate non-metal, but you want something really dark and depressing, check this one out. Either check out this one or check out Blood Inside. Those are my 2 favorites of the non-metal era. Shadows of the Sun, great record. Okay, first let's show, I got 1 tape to show, so I'll show the cassette first. This is Paganizer, The Tower of the Morbid. See, these guys are a death metal band from Sweden, I think formed in mid-90s, like between 94 and 96, I believe they formed. Look up the main guitarist, look up his Metal Archives page, he's in like 30 bands, that's not an exaggeration, it's insane. I don't know how the hell he remembers all the different bands, what songs goes with what bands when they play live. I would totally forget. I wouldn't even bother playing live at that point. This isn't reinventing the wheel or anything, but it's good, solid Swedish death metal. But to me, this sounds like a mix of, say, first 2 Dismember records, early Bloodbath, and like mid-era Flesh Crawl, like Blood Rains from the Sky to Walk the Path of Sorrow era Flesh Crawl. Especially the vocals, it sounds a lot like Flesh Crawl, like the more like as blood rains from the sky. That kind of like more guttural, buggy style. So, came out on Transcending Obscurity Records. This is from last year. This took forever to get to me, so if you want this and you live in the States, you're gonna have to wait a while. I was gonna order the LP, but the tape was a lot cheaper, so I'm kind of glad I didn't, considering how long it took. And I would be worried that the LP would get totally damaged in the mail. But I'm glad this showed up. It just took 3 months, but COVID's definitely not helping with shipping. So if you like early Dismember, mid-era Flesh Crawl, and early Bloodbath, you don't know Paganizer. Again, not reinventing the wheel, but if you like those 3 bands, still solid release nevertheless. Paganizer, The Tower of the Morbid. Here's a release from last year. I got the new Benediction Scriptures, put out last year through Nuclear Blast. I'm not super familiar with Benediction's catalog, to be perfectly honest. Besides this, I only know the debut and Descendant to the Absurd. Or Descendant to the Absurd. I think Transcend the Rubicon. When I say Descendant to the Absurd, it's a different record, but I only know the debut and the Transcend the Rubicon. So I can't comment if this is their best record in a bunch of years, so. This record's kind of different from what I was expecting. I know Benediction's kind of more like groovy and mid-paced, but there's a lot of kind of like faster thrashy moments on this one. It's kind of caught me off guard, but it's definitely cool. The only thing about this album that I don't like is the last few songs the last like 4 or 5 songs starts to get kind of same songy. Like all the songs at certain points kind of tend to bleed together, which is not a bad thing, but at a certain point, just kind of like, okay, we've heard this all before, let's just move on, so it kind of drags on, but definitely the best that Dave Ingram has sounded in years. Though obviously, you know Dave Ingram, he used to be in Bolt Thrower, which he was on. This record, not my favorite by Bolt Thrower, but still a solid release, because it has the Bolt Thrower logo on it, doesn't it? So if you like kind of good mid-pace, slightly thrashy death metal, and you were kind of worried that Benediction is still not good, they're definitely putting out a good quality. Just my slight nitpick of it being kind of too long, kind of dragging out near the end is something you can avoid, I guess, but that's just me nitpicking. Anyway, Benediction Scriptures, check this one out. Okay, this one I was waiting to talk about because I was waiting for my LP copy to show up, but it's been like a month and a half after the release date, so I said, okay, fuck it, I'm sick of waiting to talk about this record. Got the new Sodom record, Genesis XI. I would say this is, compared to a older Sodom record, maybe this is, you could say, like a modern version of Masquerade in Blood, so kind of that style, so slightly punkier, but definitely I would say the best record in the last 15 years, maybe 15 or 20, so either the best since maybe the self-titled or M16. At first I wasn't that impressed with this record, but the more I listen to it, the more and more I seem to enjoy the record. And you can tell they seem kind of energized again, because I like Decision Day, but something seemed kind of off. You can tell they didn't seem that inspired with that record. That might be just me. But I know the guitarist who was on Decision Day, he left. Well, actually, he got fired from Sodom because he and Angel Ripper kept disagreeing on what songs they wanted to play in the set list, because the guitarist wanted to stick to the newer material, and Tom wanted to go back and play the older stuff, but they got to keep getting in arguments, so Tom said, alright, fuck you, you're out, goodbye. But the return of Frank has definitely given this band a new kick in the ass. And you know what Sodom sounds like, I don't need to tell you about the music, but stand-up tracks on this one, Sodom and Gomorrah, Clock and Roll, and Friendly Fire. Those are definitely the 3 stand-up tracks. Oh, and Introduction. Great cover art too. I don't know what's taking the record label so long to get my LP copy, but I kind of understand because of COVID. And I believe this is the first Sodom record that they were a four-piece, because they're usually a power trio. So definitely the best record in the last 15 years, but I've seen people say it's the best since Agent Orange. I wouldn't go that far. It's definitely not better than Tap in the Vein or Better Off Dead or Get What You Deserve, but it's definitely, I would say, better than the last 3 or 4, maybe 5 records. So Sodom, Genesis XI. If you're not impressed with it at first, go back to it, because for me it's definitely a grower. Like, at first I thought it was kind of but the more I listened to it, the more I dug it. I've been listening to it a lot since. So Sodom, Genesis XI. So I got the second Desolatory record, Bitterness. I'm probably in the minority because I prefer this record to the debut, Into Darkness. But I know that it's just me. This record's a little bit more melodic than the debut. But to me, this one has more in common with, say, Dismember, because the first one, I would say, has more in common with In Tune, but this one sounds kind of like Massive Killing Capacity Dismember, but because it has some of the same, like, kind of mid-pace part, but it's not Death and Roll like that record sort of is. This also has the bonus 1990 demo and the 1991 demo. I think this came out 94, maybe? Between 92 and 94, I'm guessing. This is a I don't know what that says. Something records reissue. I know after this they put out Swallow the Snake, which is a terrible record. And I haven't gone back to anything after that, because I've been worried that all the other records were kind of shitty. But I've heard people say after Swallow the Snake they were good again. But I still definitely need to check out the albums after Swallow the Snake. So if you like early Dismember, especially like Massive Killing Capacity, and you want something kind of similar, this is a solid record. Not reinventing the wheel, but not everything you have to listen to has to be reinventing the wheel all the time, so. Solid record. Desolatory, Bitterness. Okay, here's the record in my collection that by far has the worst album cover of all time. This is Syntax with Subconscious Limity. What the fuck is that? Before I talk about the music, just look. It's a sex doll in a dungeon getting a haircut. Who the fuck came up with this shit? I don't know why they thought this album cover was a good idea. I don't know what the fucking band meeting was like. But hey guys, should we get like Dan Seagrave to paint something? No, let's do someone in a fucking sex dungeon getting a haircut. Anyway, besides the god-awful album cover, this music is solid. Swedish death metal from the early 90s. Yeah, 92. I'm pretty sure this is a bootleg because the OGs are like $80. This was only 15, so it's definitely a bootleg. They have, I think, like 8 or 9 full lengths after this. This is the only one I'm familiar with, so I can't comment on if they're good or not. But this to me sounds like if Unleashed was a little bit weirder. There's some kind of, not out of place, but kind of oddly used clean vocals on this record that are kind of not very good at first, but once you listen to it more, you kind of get it in the context of the record. I don't know who put this out originally, but this is a repress on Underground Records. Definitely a bootleg according to Discogs. I've never seen anybody mention this band on YouTube, maybe because they have an album cover like this, that is probably why. So if you can ignore the worst album cover of all time and you want to get like something that's kind of like Unleashed but a little bit weirder, definitely a solid record. Sun Attacks, Subconscious Limity, worst album cover of all time, it's still a good record. So don't judge a book by its cover. That's definitely a good example of that. Okay. This is Massacra with the Final Holocaust. So these guys are a, I would say death metal band, but it's kind of more like death thrash band, sort of. These guys are from France. This was originally released in 1990. I don't remember. No, it was originally released in 1990 on Shark Records. This is a 2020 Svart Records repress. So this is, like I said, kind of death thrash. Not pure death metal. It's definitely borderline death thrash. So to me, this sounds like Altars of Madness, Morbid Angel, the first 2 Pestilence records, and the first Deicide record, but not really vocally the Deicide record, but more kind of the riff style, because you can tell they're definitely influenced by a lot of the more aggressive thrash bands at the time, like Dark Angel, Creator, Sodom, definitely that kind of vein. Very weird album cover. I don't know what this is. Maybe some dude killing an ant, but I know after this they put out, what was it called? I think it was Enjoy the Violence was their second record. That was originally in 91. That's my preferred record by these guys. I'm not familiar with anything after their third record, which I can't remember the name of the record right now, but the first 2 are definitely the best, and the second record, Enjoy the Violence, is still my favorite record from the discography, but this one is still solid too. It's mostly fast, but in a way like thrash bands fast, not like blasting super intense fast, so it's definitely like the faster, like Dark Angel or Creative kind of fast pace, but that way, like all the way through, they don't have any of the like more mid-pace stuff that Creative did, say like the more mid-pace songs on like Riot of Violence or Love Us or Hate Us. They don't have any of those kind of mid-pace songs. It's mostly just fast blistering. Anyway, cool album cover. There's the front. Kind of weird album cover, but whatever. Front. Love the logo. There's the back. Guys, the guys in the band track listing. Again, Svart Records repress. Cool menu booklet. Inner sheet. Back. Is this on black? I think it's on black. Yeah, it's on black. Very boring labels. So if you want some good death thrash, like I said, the first 2 Pestilence records, the first Morbid Angel record, the first Deicide record, early Dark Angel, early Creative, put all those together, and if that sounds interesting, definitely check this out. So, Massacra, the Final Holocaust, and these guys are French, if I didn't mention it. This isn't the Colombian Massacre, who put out one of the best South American kind of black thrash records ever. I still need to get myself a copy of Sacro, I think is what it's called. Sacro, yeah. Okay, here's a record I should have had in my collection for years, but I got this like 2 months ago, so I'm better late than never, I suppose. This is Sarcófago with INRI. If you know your early first wave black metal, I don't need to really tell you what the music sounds like. You definitely should know Sarcófago if you know first wave black metal at all, but I always forget if it was the singer or the guitarist was in Sepultura on the debut record before Andreas Kisser came in. I think it was the guitarist, I want to say, maybe. I'm not sure, but I know one of these guys was in Sepultura and played on Morbid Visions, which, if we're being honest, Andreas is a way better guitarist than this guy, because there's definitely a lot better solos on the other Sepultura records. At least the Sepultura records that actually matter. I don't give a shit about any of the stuff with Gary Green, but that's a tangent for another day. But anyway, I would say if you don't know the music for some odd reason, take the first Sepultura record, the first 2 Bathory records, early Hellhammer like Satanic Rites and Apocalyptic Raids, and the first Celtic Frost record, put that in a blender and you get this. And there's a little bit of, say, like Show No Mercy from Slayer, which I know people say that's a first wave black metal record. Not really, because it sounds kind of like Venom mixed with Iron Maiden, but anyway, getting off topic, but I think this was originally released in '87 on Cogumelo. Yeah, Cogumelo, because they were definitely one of the more popular Brazilian labels back in the day. Not my favorite Sarcófago record, that would actually be... Where is it? I'll pull it out later. That would actually be the Laws of Scourge. I know it's, most people seem to prefer this one, but the Laws of Scourge is definitely my preferred Sarcófago release. This one's still great though. This is probably my second favorite. And honestly, as far as Sarcófago is concerned, all I need is the demos, this, Laws of Scourge, and the Rotting EP. After that, I don't care about the other 2 full lengths. They got kind of too weird for my taste, but anyway. Front cover, by far the best album cover though. That's fucking awesome. I love that. There's the front. There's the back. Guys, the band track listing. This is a Graze Haze and Columbia Music repress from 2017. I got this through Desert Wasteland Productions. They have copies for cheap, so get on it. Black, but I love the labels. Again, this comes with a poster. I would hang it up, but if it was colored, I would definitely hang it up, but cool poster of the dudes in the graveyard, very fitting. And the lyrics on this record are pretty stupid, but I'll defend them because I know English wasn't the native language, so I can kind of forgive some dumb lyrics. Front of this, back. I know there's one lyric where I think it's, if you were false, do not entry, you will be burned and died. That doesn't make any sense, but it's kind of awesome. Another picture of the dudes chilling in the graveyard. So yeah, if for some reason you're not familiar with Sarcófago, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, but if you like the first 2 Bathory records, early Hellhammer, early Celtic Frost, and the first Sepultura, and you don't know Sarcófago for some reason, but if those 4 bands sound appealing, definitely check this one out. Sarcófago, INRI, but I'm sure most people watching my channel are familiar with Sarcófago. Okay, here's a band I'm not really sure how to categorize because I'll show it. This is Foreseen with, what the fuck is it called? Gravedigger. So I'm gonna call this thrash, but not really. It's maybe like a mix of thrash and DB, because vocally it sounds kind of more like DB, but some of the riffs sound kind of thrashy, but also kind of DB, because they have the typical kind of like DB drum patterns, but they also have some more of the faster thrash-paced riffing. But vocally, it's kind of more like punky, but not like, it's not like Misfits. It's definitely closer to, say, The Exploited, but not as gruff as, say, Disrupt. So it's not like crust punk, but definitely closer to D beats like Exploited, I guess. But Exploited's not even considered D beats. I don't know why I said that, but what's that one band to compare it to? Maybe if you know Wolf Brigade, it's definitely closer to that spectrum than, say, Disrupt, but Definitely awesome cover. I don't remember who this at. Put this at. I think $20 Spin and Spud Records combination. Anyway, there's the front. There's the back. Though this is definitely a lot more thrashy than Wolf Brigade, and because they're definitely more just straightforward DB, where this is definitely has a lot of thrash metal influence in the sound to switch things up. Maybe they're not considered DB. I'm kind of a noob to like punk and hardcore stuff, so maybe I'm just speaking out of my ass, so someone can correct me if they actually consider something else. But anyway, if you like thrash mixed with DB, so if you want like Wolf Brigade but extra thrashy, check out Foreseen. I know this is their second record. They have a debut before this, which I don't remember the name of that one, but yeah. Foreseen, Gravedigger, definitely my favorite of the two records, but both records are awesome. These next few are some classics, so I'm just gonna kind of breeze through these. I got two records by Exciter. I got Violent Force and Long Live the Loud. Of these two, I prefer this one, but I'll talk about this one first. So these guys are a traditional metal band, or at least that's what they started out as, from Canada, which the debut record, I don't remember the name of that one, but that record's definitely not speed metal at all. It's definitely, I would say, like early Judas Priest mixed with early Accept, kind of, in that vein, where definitely vocally it's more on the high register, but not as high as, say, like King Diamond, definitely more as like Bruce Dickinson kind of high, or a little bit like Rob Halford's kind of highs also. But this record I would say has like half, well, this record I think is half traditional metal, half speed record, where this is speedy all the way through, but this one is more my style, but this one's still solid too, just more mid-paced and fast songs, but still not a bad thing. There's the front. There's the back. I don't know who put this out originally. This is a Megaforce 2004 Records press, which Megaforce, obviously you all should know, is the first label that signed Metallica. Cool gray and pink splatter. I don't know what they called this version. Maybe like gun gray or something. This doesn't come with, does it come with lyrics? No, it does not come with any lyrics. There's Violent and Force. I prefer Long Live the Loud, but that's still a solid record. And then we have Long Live the Loud, which is an OG press from the 80s, so that's cool. Kind of weird cover. I don't know why they decided that was a good idea, but you can tell it's the OG press because it's super flimsy and kind of shitty quality. Anyway, weird album cover, but whatever. There's the front. There's the back. Guys in the band, track listing. And this comes with nothing also. So of these two, this one's definitely my favorite because it's a lot faster and more aggressive, but both records are solid. So if you like early Accept and early Judas Priest, and on this record there's a little bit of early, maybe the first Halloween record and the first EP creeping into the sound too. So if you like Judas Priest, Accept, and Halloween, and you don't know the first three Exciter records, definitely I say start with this one, but this and the second record are good, definitely both solid. So there's Exciter, Long Live the Loud, and Violent and Force. Okay, here's one that another one that should have taken me years to get, but honestly, this record's great, but the reason I waited is because record like this, it will always be impressed. It's never hard to find, so you don't have to get it immediately. Like there's some records I want that are more pain in the ass, so for some reason I tend to go to those because those are hard to get, and they're, if you wait even longer they'll be even more expensive, but these will always be impressed, so that's why I tend to go for these classics like later on. But anyway, the fucking king, we got Dio, Sacred Heart. Probably in the minority, but this is honestly my favorite Dio record. I know most people are going to say the first two, but I just think this one's more energetic than Holy Diver and... Fuck, wow. The second record I can't think of the name of right now, but... Maybe because I've heard this record so many times, this one's more refreshing because I've heard this one less than Holy Diver. Definitely, I would say the better cover art of any of his records too, and I don't really need to explain the music because we all know what Dio sounds like, at least I hope we do. But this one I would say is, there's some more slower moments, but it's not like full on like Doom, it's definitely, there's some upbeat moments too that I want Holy Diver and Last in Line, but this is definitely has some more slower, creepier moments, but this one I think definitely has Dio's best vocal performance. His warm-up routine before we did the show was he would smoke a joint and that was it, and then he would sing better than 95% of any vocalist, so I don't know how he did it. But anyway, there's the front, awesome cover art. There's the back, track listing. And yes, I know I didn't explain the music very good, but you all know what Dio sounds like, so it'd be like explaining what Iron Maiden sounds like. There's just no point, because we all know what it sounds like. I don't know what this is. I think this lyrics for a song for some reason, okay. So what's the color of the song? Oh yeah. Cool, clear, I like the replica Warner Brother logos. So like I said, my favorite Dio record, but that maybe just because the other two I've heard so often, it's refreshing to hear one that hasn't been banged into your head for years. So there's Dio's Sacred Heart, my favorite Dio record. Here's another one that's... I had the first two records by this band on CD, but I didn't own anything on vinyl. This is Mercyful Fate with In the Shadows. In the Shadows. Again, probably in the minority, but this is honestly my favorite Mercyful Fate record. What I know, most people are gonna say the first two, but this one I think is definitely my favorite. It has some of my favorite songs by Mercyful Fate. That's probably why, like the Old Ark, the Bell Witch, Room of Golden Air. Is That You, Melissa? Though my favorite song by Mercyful Fate is definitely Come to the Sabbath, but honestly, I've always been a bigger solo King Diamond fan than a Mercyful Fate fan, but that's just me personally. Maybe because Mercyful Fate is, I would say, more progressive, kind of, but King Diamond's had some progressive tendencies too, but I would say King Diamond is more straightforward, where Mercyful Fate, I think, is more progressive leaning, but... And this definitely, I think this what year this come out? Oh yeah, originally 98, so... Okay, so this is Future Devon. So that Mercyful Fate record, yeah, they came out in 93. I don't know why I said 98. Whatever. Same year that King Diamond solo came out with Voodoo, but this one definitely beats the shit out of Voodoo. Voodoo's good, but not great. This one is definitely my favorite Mercyful Fate record. Anyway, there's the front. One of the best cover arts too. There's the back, track listing, which you kind of can't see on camera, but you can see it better in person. Classic Metal Blade logo. There's the King looking fucking awesome. I didn't plan this, but this is just the shit I pulled out. King being cool looking. I know that King Diamond's vocals are an acquired taste, but I've loved it. In the second I heard it, I fucking loved it. So that is just me. What color is this song? Black, but I love the old school Metal Blade logos. So yeah, definitely my favorite record by the Fate, though I prefer solo King Diamond, though most Mercyful Fate records are good, and most King Diamond records are good, at least in my opinion. Definitely, I would say his most underrated record in my opinion, so. Mercyful Fate, In the Shadows. Okay, I don't really talk about Doom that much on my channel, because I'm extremely picky when it comes to anything doomy, but this is definitely one of the exceptions to that rule, though. When I listen to Doom, I want like Death Doom, so like Paradise Lost, or... Early Tamaya, which I got this in today, but I'll talk about that next update. So I definitely am more a fan of, say, like, the Paradise Lost and the Tamaya to the straightforward, like, Candlemass, but this is definitely one of my exceptions to me being picky about straightforward Doom instead of Death Doom. This is, Witchfinder General with Death Penalty. Originally released in, I want to say 1982, maybe? Between 81 and 80, between 80 and 83. These guys were part of the new wave of British heavy metal with bands like, you know, Saxon, Judas Priest, Raven, Iron Maiden, all that good stuff, Tank. But these guys stand out because they're definitely on the more doomier side. They're not as upbeat as, say, like Maiden or Tank. They're definitely slower, but to me this is like the new album equivalent to Black Sabbath. Though honestly, this guy's a lot better singer than Ozzy. Because if we're being honest, Ozzy's not that great of a singer. His vocals work in the context of Sabbath, but solo his vocals were kind of good in the beginning, but later on kind of turned to shit. A very weird album cover. I don't know what is going on with this, but this is definitely very much more metal than the early Sabbath stuff. Because the early Sabbath stuff was a lot more bluesy influence, like. Listen to Self-Titled, that's basically a blues rock record. Very little metal on that record. And even like Paranoid is still kind of bluesy. But anyway, front cover, very weird. I don't know what the hell that is, but okay. Back, track listing, the chick is dead. Okay, I don't know why, but okay. Same lady fucking dead again. Come with anything? No, Black record doesn't come with any lyrics or anything. So, does it come with lyrics? Nope, no lyrics here. So if you want the new wave of British heavy metal equivalent to Black Sabbath, definitely these guys. But definitely more straightforward metal than Black Sabbath was at the time. And it's not super like cocaine and drug fueled and weird, but so it's kind of like a more modern version of the self-titled record, but less bluesy. So if that sounds interesting, you don't know Witchfinder General, if you like Sabbath but less bluesy, check it out. Witchfinder General, Death Penalty. Okay, last record and we are done for this video. This is Omen with Battle Cry. Debut record from, I don't know, I think 81 maybe? I don't know, 81 or 82. So these guys are a power metal band from the United States, which power metal back then definitely meant something different than it does now, because all the early stuff, power metal scene in the early 80s was definitely more influenced by the new wave of British heavy metal, which power metal later on would be more influenced by speed metal, so this is definitely more closer to, say, the Iron Maidens than it is the like Blind Guardians maybe, because Blind Guardian's a lot faster than this is. This is more, I would say, like faster, but not as fast as like Blind Guardian. It's definitely not like thrashy. It's kind of like more faster Maiden fast. Although I know there was a good scene for Metal Blade Records. They definitely had their finger on the pulse in the early power metal in the early 80s. And what was the record after this? This is my favorite record by them, but I know the first three records are all solid. I still need to get the other two. But vocally, not spectacular, but not bad. Just kind of subpar. Well, not subpar. It makes it sound like it's shitty, but just kind of par for the course vocal delivery that you would expect at the metal in the early 80s. Good production. You can make out what everyone's doing. It doesn't sound muddy. It sounds organic and nice and natural. So it doesn't sound like it's robotic either. But guitar tone's super good and not crunchy, but kind of like. Not like super thin, but kind of in the middle. If you know early 80s metal, you know what I mean. Where it's like Maiden, it's like not super distorted, but there was enough distortion to make everything sound nice and heavy. But anyway, there's the front. We'll have the cover art. There's the back. Some dead dude being hung. Okay. The guys in the band, track listing. Lyrics just come with nice white. It looks more pink on camera, but it is white. Does it come with lyrics? I believe it comes with lyrics. Big poster, which I won't show you. That doesn't come with lyrics. It just comes with this order sheet for HR records. So I don't know. You probably. I don't know how up to date this is, but I'm sure if you look up High Roller Records online, you can see what you can still get from the label. So if you like early 80s power metal, definitely closer to, say, like Manila Road than, say, Blind Guardian. You don't know the first couple Omen records. Definitely my favorite of the first three, but all the first three are all solid, so. That is Omen with Battle Cry. Okay, that's all I got today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know what video I'll do next. Maybe if you want me to go back to the vaults, I'll do that next. Let me know. I wish I had the 1,000 subs so I could do the community post thing so I could actually see what people want to see, but I'm not close to that yet, so subscribe if you're not. It won't hurt you. I promise. Okay guys, that's it. See you in the next video. Have a good weekend. Goodbye.